Hello everyone. So today's video is about getting the NCLEX eligibility from the Australian board, that is the AHPRA, that is the Australian Health Practitioner Regulatory Agency. So this is again a step-by-step guide on how to fill the application. But before I get started with the video, as I've already told you in my previous video, that is in the CNO registration requirements, which is part 3 about the registration exam. So I've already told you that when your application is with the CNO, so it shows you that you have to meet certain requirements. So there is the jurisprudence exam, there is the education, and then there is the nursing registration exam. Now, what happens is that when CNO sees compares your education, it happens that the most of the internationally educated nurses, the CNO does not consider their nursing education as comparable with the Canadian standards, and thus it tells you to either do the like some bridging course or some extra OSCE you have to give so that you can meet your nursing education requirement. And once you meet the nursing education requirements, then only you are eligible to give the NCLEX-RN exam, right? Now, this is a lengthy procedure, and at times, like you have to go through the OSCE process, which is again like you may not be able to go like complete all the OSCE requirements. So there is another way out, as I've already discussed in my previous video regarding the new rules which CNO has brought about, and it was that if you have given the NCLEX exam, if you have already passed the NCLEX exam, then you are able to meet your nursing education as well as your nursing registration exam requirement. So nowadays it is very popular that people they get their NCLEX eligibility from either USA or from Australia, and then they give the NCLEX exam. Once they pass the NCLEX exam, they are able to meet their educational requirement as well as the registration requirement. I've already made a video on the New York State Education Department application, that is how to fill the application for the NYSED and get the eligibility through USA. And this video is about how to get the NCLEX eligibility from Australian board. Now, why is this video important? Because uh, uh, as compared to the US, the Australian board, it gives the eligibility within 1 to 2 months. Instead, in US, what happens is the NYSED, there is a lot of backlog. So your application, to get the eligibility, it takes approximately 6 to 8 months. Right. So if you want to give the exam in the near future, then you can always go ahead with the Australian board. So let's get started with the video. So on the Google, you have to type AHPRA, that is the Australian Health Practitioner Regulating Agency, and this page will be opened. On this page, you will be clicking on the registration, and then the next window it shows the lost a lot of lists. So from that, you have to choose the international applicants. And again, the next window, there is an option of medical board and the nursing and midwifery board, right? So you will be clicking on this tab, and it will take you to the next page, that is about the details of the IQNM, right? So that is the internationally qualified nurses and midwives. So in this, you will go to this section, that is self-check and portfolio, and click on find out more. Now the Australian board, it does is it first of all takes the information from you, that from what kind of education you have done, from which country you have done, and whether what and the education, is it comparable to the Australian nursing education. So it divides them into 3 streams, that is stream A, stream B, and stream C. And based on that, your application will move ahead to the assessment stages, and the assessment stages vary according to the different streams. So you click on the find out more, and it will be showing you the self check and portfolio window. In this, you will be clicking on completing the self check, right? Now, here they have already told you that all the internationally qualified nurses and midwives who wish to register and work with the Australia as a registered nurse, enrolled nurse, or midwife must complete an orientation to the Australian healthcare and go through all of these self-check and everything process, right? So we will be clicking on completing the self-check. Now this self-check, it helps to determine what sequence of steps you have to follow to get through the registration process. So if you scroll down the page, you will come to ready to complete the self-check, and you will click on the expand tab. It will show you commence self-check tab. Below this, there is a note, and it says that candidates who receive a Stream B outcome after the self-check or portfolio stage and who request an NCLEX-RN score transfer from the Ahpra to the another nursing regulatory body like CNO, right? So we'll be required to apply to the Ahpra for a score transfer and pay a fee before their score will be transferred. So this is what is the regular process is. So you get the eligibility from a different board instead of the Canadian board. Then you pass the NCLEX exam. Now the results, they are passed to the Australian board or the US board. You have to request the Australian or the US board or to transfer your your NCLEX results to CNO. So they require a fee for that. So that's again a different process, right? Now it will take you to the self-check page, and it says that who should take the self-check. So it is all the individuals who are internationally qualified nurses and midwives. They will be taking this self-check, and those third-party agents and individuals who have completed their nursing education from Australia or from New Zealand, they or who are already registered in New Zealand, so they will not be taking the self-check, right? And you click on the next, and it takes you to the privacy page. Click next, it takes you to the disclaimer page. Then it takes you to the profession or division page, which is says what profession or division of profession are you seeking registration in. So in this drop down, it shows you three options, that is registered nurse, enrolled nurse, or midwife. And it has given a note that if you want to register in more than one category, so you will be selecting one category and complete the application, and then for the second category you will be contacting Ahpra, right? So when you click on the drop down, it will be showing you enrolled nurse, registered nurse, and midwife. You select the like a registered nurse, for example, and then it is asking for the registration. Do you hold current registration as a registered nurse in New Zealand? So it is no for all the applicants who are applying from outside Australia or New Zealand. Then have you previously held general registration as a registered nurse in Australia? So obviously it's no, because you are not applying from Australia. Then about the referral letter, do you hold a current APRA referral to board approved bridging program letter or a referral to outcome based assessment letter? So you will be selecting no. Now what is this outcome based assessment letter or this approved bridging program letter? So if you have applied earlier for the registration to the Australian board, and your application got rejected because your educational qualification does not match, so it gives you this letter that you have to do certain bridging courses so that you can go ahead with the application for the registration. So if you have received that, so you will be clicking yes, otherwise no. Then it asks some questions about your primary qualification, like enter the country where your qualification was obtained. So it is like for me, it was India. Then enter name of the institution, university, college, or examining body. So for example, it is Baba Farid University of Health Sciences. Then enter the title of qualification. It is Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and enter the year completed. So it is like 2020, for example, and it is check the education. So it will show you, like when you click on check my qualification, it has given you a check that your qualification has been checked. Now next the question is, do you have any qualification relevant to your profession as a registered nurse? So it is no, like I don't have any other qualification related to my profession, so it's no. Then you click on next, and it shows you the summary of whatever questions it has asked you, and you will be clicking on next, and then it will show you the next steps, that is you are now ready to proceed to the assessment stages. And by clicking on the proceed button, you will be asked to create an account with the Ahpra. Then you can log in into your account, and when you create the account and login, then it will guide you through the further steps in the process. And it tells you that you do not close the browser until you accept the terms and conditions, that is the acknowledgement, and otherwise your information will not be saved, and then you will have to repeat the whole process again. So I am reminding you, if you're not having enough time, at least complete the application that until creating your account and accepting the terms and conditions. So you will be clicking on proceed, and this takes you to the login or register page. And here you will say I do not have login, so it will take you to the create your login page. That is, you will be giving your first name, your last name. So if you do not have like you have to, your last name is a mandatory of a field, and first name it can be or it can be or it cannot be, but last name is mandatory. And then you will be selecting your date of birth and give your email address, and it is asking you to retype your email address because it will be sending you a validation code on your email address. So make sure that your email address is correct. You will be checking on I am not a robot and click next. And next screen shows you that to validate your email. A validation code has been sent to your email. So you will open your email, copy the validation code and write it here, and then click on the validate. So next it says you to create your password for your account. So it should be 8 to 20 letters long and contain one uppercase and one lowercase letter, and then it should contain at least one number, and then you click on create account. So now your account has been created, but you cannot like close your screen, right? So you have to go through this declaration, and you have to check this box, I declare that I have read and understood and agree with all the statements above, and click on next. And here is this acknowledgement page, so you will click on I accept. And then you can, after clicking on this, if you are not having enough time to complete your application in one go, so you have to complete your application until this process so that you can continue from where you have left. So once you click on I agree, it takes you to the IQNM dashboard. So this is how your IQNM dashboard looks like. Now it says hello and it is your name. Welcome. Based on the qualification information entered, you have been identified as a Stream B candidate, right? So this whole of this process is according to your um, stream, right? So this here it shows you your IQNM case number, and based on which if you have any queries and you have to, in case you need to contact the Ahpra, you can use this case number for your file, right? Now this process has the following parts, like you have to pay the IQNM assessment fee, then you have to do the orientation, make the portfolio, give the MCQ exam, that is the NCLEX-RN exam, and then if you want to get registered in Australia, then you have to give the OSCE and apply for the registration, right? So it is asking you about what is your mailing address. So from the drop down, you will be selecting your country and you have to search your address, and this is a mandatory field. So if you are not able to find your address, you will be clicking on this checkbox, I cannot find my address, and then I think you can manually add your address, right? It shows you the amount payable, whatever fee that you have to pay, and this is currently it is $420. So once you pay the fee, you will a receipt will be generated and you will be receiving a payment receipt, right? Then click on finish and it will take you to the next step, right, which is the orientation part. So next is to launch, you must complete the orientation part 1 uh, to move to the further assessment stages, right? And so you will be clicking on launch orientation. So there are two orientations which you have to complete. First one is before the registration and second one is after the registration with the Australian board. So before starting with the orientation, it will be asking you about update your profile information. So you will be giving your first name, your last name. These all will be already there, and your federation ID. This is again randomly generated as per your application. These are non-editable fields. Then you will be selecting your profession, your highest level of education, and your country of primary qualification, right? And then you will be moving to the next, um, that is the privacy and confidentiality, and you will update this information and it will launch the orientation. So now this orientation, it almost takes 1 hour to complete. So whenever if you think that you are not able to complete it in one go, so you can always like log out and come back and it will resume from where you have left, right? So you will be clicking here start, and it will have all the information about the Australia, how Australia, its Aboriginal people, nursing, how is nursing in Australia, and different things about nursing, right? And once you complete it, it will be asking you about your details, which is like what is your name. So you have to mention your title, then your first name and your last middle name. So if you do not have a middle name, so you will be checking this box, that is I don't have a middle name, and then a family or legal name. So have you previously been known by any other name? So if you have, so you will be checking yes, otherwise no. What is your date of birth and personal details? So you will be mentioning your date of birth, your gender, your country of birth, and your place of birth. Then it will be asking you about your address details. So what is your residential address? Mention your country, then the international address line, your state or province, and your postal code or zip code, and click on the next. Then it will be asking you about the proof of identity. So what kind of document you will be using as your identity proof. So here you will be clicking on the drop down menu and selecting the type of identity proof which you will be using. So I have selected like the foreign passport or travel agent travel document, and you will be mentioning its expiry date, and it shows you that you will be required to upload the certified copies. Right now I will be telling you later on what exactly the certified copy is like. And then you click on the next, and it will be asking you about your qualifications. It would be a summary about what where you have done your qualification, what is was the name of your institution, the title of your qualification, and the year of completion. So whenever you feel like that you cannot complete the application, so you will click on the save progress and log out, right? So again, there is a note like if you have any documents which are not in English, you must attach the English translation along with the non-English documents. So you have to give the non-translated version also, like whatever the local language document is, plus the attached translated English version also. I will be telling you about the translation requirements in detail later in the video. So clicking on the next, it will be asking you, have you successfully completed a National Council licensure exam for registered nurses, that is the NCLEX-RN, within the past 10 years? So if it is yes, definitely it won't be yes because you want to get eligibility for the exam. So you will be clicking on no and then click on the next. It will take you to the last section, that is the document upload section. So it says you must upload all the required documentation, and the copies of the document uploaded must be clear and legible, less than 10 MB, and of the format .jpg, .jpeg, GIF, .png, PDF, etc. Right? And if you want to add the files, click on the plus icon. If you want to remove the file, click on the checkbox next to the corresponding section and click on the minus section. Right? Okay. So I will be discussing about the certified copy in detail later on. So here, for example, you have added the uploaded the identity proof, and it shows you have uploaded. So you will be clicking on the upload and click on the plus, and it will be taking you to the browse section, and you can upload the file. Now, suppose you want to remove it, so you will be checking on the select the specific file and click on the minus, and your file will be deleted. Next is you will be checking on I declare those. So you have a declaration that whatever documents you are providing, they are a certified true copy, and you went in person, and you are the person who went to get the documents attested, and you are the one who is in the picture, right? So it will be showing you about the documents which are attached, for example, the passport copy. So next it will be the qualification documents. So it will be your DMC for the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, right? So will be you will be just clicking on the plus sign and adding the documents. So after you have done all of this, so next step is you are now ready to submit your portfolio. By clicking on submit button you will be moving into the assessment stage. And when your whole of your application is assessed, they will contact you that now you are eligible for giving the exam or not, right? So you will click on the submit portfolio and it is done. right? And whenever you want to recheck your like application, you can always click on the login button, and it will take you to the login page where you have to enter your username and password by selecting your date of birth and password and clicking on I'm not a robot and login. Okay. Now, how to get your documents certified? So, because you are applying from outside Australia, definitely. So, who can do the certification of your documents? So, it can be Notary Public, any Australian consular officer or Australian diplomatic officer, right? Then, employee of the Commonwealth or the Australian Trade Commissions who works outside Australia, or the Justice of Peace, right? So the most common one is the notary public. You can always find out on the net where your nearest notary public is, and you can get your documents attested. And make sure you take your um, original documents for the attestation purposes. Okay. Now coming to the certify how the document should be certified. So it should be certified by the authorized officer, which I have told you the list of officers who can certify your documents. Then on the document with more than one page. So suppose you have 2 or 3 pages, like for example, for the passport page, right? So you have 2 pages, for example, the front and the back. So it will be saying that page one, you have certified, it will be for certifying both the page one of two and two of two, right? To be initialed on every page and the all pages numbered. Be annotated on the first page with the words that, so this is what you have, the person who is certifying your documents will be writing. I have cited the original document and certified this to be a true copy of the original, right? This is for any kind of document. And he will be writing his name, date of certification, contact number, and occupation or profession, including his occupation or profession number, and put his seal or stamp, right? And if is the document is a photograph document, like suppose your passport, so this wording will be, I certify that this is a true copy of the original and the photograph is a true likeness of the person presenting the document as cited by me, right? So he the person will be certifying that you went in person and he has checked that you are the one person whose photo is in the document, and he will be certifying it. For translating the documents, the translator requires the original or the notarized photocopy of the document, which must be clearly legible for translation. Or if the document has been received directly by Ahpra, the translator will receive a copy of the document via the email. So either uh, you will be sending the translated version, or Ahpra will be sending on your behalf and charging you a fee, right? The translator must include an original signed statement indicating that the translation is accurate, and the translator belongs to an organization that is approved in the country where the translation is made, right? So the translation statement must include the translator's identification number or seal, or both on every page, his printed name, address, and telephone number. And you must submit with your application the original certified copy of the document used to prepare the translation, the translated copy, and the original signed statement in English. So the signed statement, it should be, that is the translation statement, it should be in English, right? So this is all about submitting your application to Ahpra for getting the NCLEX eligibility. And once this is done, you will be getting the communications from Ahpra within 1 month to 2 months, and it is pretty fast as compared to the US application. And then you can go ahead and give your exam. And I've already made a video on how to book your NCLEX exam, and I will be sharing the link of that video in the description box. And once you have completed this, uh, like given the exam, so you will be asking the APRA, that is the Australian board, to transfer your results to CNO and pay whatever the fee will they will be asking. You will be paying that. And once CNO receives your exam results as pass, it will be automatically updating your nursing education as being met, right? So you will be ready to get your registration as a registered nurse in Ontario, right? That's all for now. Thank you very much.